Annemarie Wiley from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Danny and I are so pumped to kick off 2024 by chatting with you. And we're just here to celebrate your new status as a real housewife, a true diamond holder. I mean, it's
Yeah.
got to be a whirlwind time for you. How are you feeling?
Well, thank you guys first off for having me. I'm super excited to be here and doing this. It's going good. I mean, it's um it's been a very interesting process to kind
Mm.
of see how everything works and now seeing everything unfold. Um, because like when I was initially asked to do this, like it was so last minute. And so I feel like there wasn't really, that time to kind of process like what's about to happen and how my life is going to change. And so that has been really interesting. And then, now 8, 10 months later, seeing everything unfold, and it's a ride, I'll say that.
I feel that's almost kind of a blessing in disguise that you were just like thrown into it because you didn't have the time to be like, okay, should I do this? Should I not? What's going on? Like it was able probably to block a lot of noise. And especially because you were brought on by like your friend Kyle. So you're like, at
Yeah.
least I know I have Kyle by my side.
Yeah. It was crazy how it happened. So I literally get a message from her in like the middle of March, and she's like, "Hey, we just started filming season 13 of Housewives. And production is interested in talking to you. What do you think?" And like I mean, initially I was like shocked because it came from literally out of the blue. And they had already been filming for 6 weeks, so it was so fast when it started. Like literally within 2 weeks I was filming, so yeah, zero time to process.
What ultimately made you say yes? Because you did kind of have to make a quick game time
Yeah.
decision because they had been filming for so long. Were you like, I don't know if I want to hold a diamond, or you were like, give me the diamond, let's go?
You know, it I I will be honest, I was a little bit hesitant at first, because um I'm used to being around fame and, especially in athletics and the entertainment world and stuff like that, obviously through my husband, former NFL player, and then a sports personality for a very long time. We have a lot of famous friends, the like. And I was very, happy to be, my private self, and go to work and take care of the kids and do all that kind of stuff. And so the thought of having the attention on me all of a sudden was like, it was a big change and like a lot to grasp. But it was really my husband who was like, you know what, you you're a multi hyphenate, right? Like I do a lot of things. He's been telling me for a long time. He's like, you should start a podcast, you should start a blog, something like that, to kind of share your life experiences with people. And he's like, it's a great platform. It's a great opportunity. And hearing that from him, and then kind of realizing now, like, I'm 40, you know what I mean? I'm at a point in my life where I have accomplished so much, and I feel like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, take a chance, try something new, try new experiences, and just, you know, embrace your opportunities.
And I mean, while we are so excited that you are embracing these new opportunities and your husband is too, because you said he was kind of like, go for it. I am
Yeah.
always interested because you say like, you're used to fame, famous friends, everything like that. How were your friends' reactions to you be like, hey guys, I'm about to film my entire life on that network Bravo, Like how was
Yeah.
that combo, that
Yeah.
announcement?
That is so funny that you asked me that. So it was kind of mixed. Like a lot of my friends were like shocked. They were like, you're gonna be on Housewife. Like they were shocked because um they, I'm a very, I don't even know how to put this, like PC. I'm just a very like positive. Like I'm always just like positive, positive, positive. And I think seeing the conflict that often arises in the shows isn't really, it's not me. I'm always the one that's trying to resolve things and bring everybody together. So I think some people were really surprised by that. Um, like my friends that are in acting, I mean, they were like, oh yes, take the opportunity, it's awesome, like do it. And I have a lot of friends that are like fans of the show, you know, and they were like super, super excited. So yeah, kind of, you know, different reactions across the board, but for the like everybody has been super, super supportive. I have the most amazing circles of people and friends around me, and you know, they've been there giving me advice like every step of the way too. So it's been great.
What's been the best piece of advice you've gotten from a friend who's not part
Ooh,
of the show
ooh.
prior to filming? Because I'm sure you had to like mentally prepare yourself as someone who isn't necessarily conflict driven, someone who tries to keep the peace. I mean, it's tough to be that person in this group of girls.
Yep, absolutely. So a friend of mine, we were out at dinner the other night, and the advice that he gave me, which was also advice that my husband has given me all along, but it was just so nice to have it echoed by somebody else who is very big in the spotlight. And his advice was just always be yourself and don't worry about what people are going to say about you, what they're going to think about you, because number one, you can't please everybody, right? In being your true, real, authentic self, like someone is going to take a side in this stance, or they're going to take a stand in this sense. And I feel like a lot of the time there's a lot of pandering that happens, and
Mm.
I'm just not that person. Like I can only be myself, and you have to have a really thick skin in order to do this, and that is something that I am actively working on, building that muscle, because it really is, it's a muscle.
I mean, because it is I feel, a daily strength training exercise that housewives have to do, because not only do fans let you know, for better or for worse,
Yeah.
their thoughts and opinions on you,
Yeah.
fellow Real Housewives, not just on your cast, let you
Oh, yeah.
know. And I mean,
Right.
is it time to talk about now what is called esophagus-gate?
Sure. Yeah. Let's go for it. I'm actually happy, really happy that I get to talk about that, because that has been something that has been weighing on me a lot. Um, because it's so misunderstood, that whole narrative and storyline. And first off, let me just start by saying that to anyone and everyone that was hurt, offended with me, saying like my facetious remark, like, oh, if you have a structure, you just chew your food. I was being very facetious when I said that. And, lesson learned in that, as a professional in this platform, I now understand that I'm not going to be given the same, kind of runway or leeway to be, like nonsensical, like some of the other ladies will be with some things. And so, like I said, last thing I want to do is to offend anybody on something that is actually very serious. So first and foremost, I apologize for that. Um, and then, so where this is really coming from with my line of questioning is I'm really trying to understand what she's talking about. And this is why, because when, Kyle brings it up at the dinner and says, Sutton doesn't eat her food and she pushes it around her plate and she says it's because she has a small esophagus, it's being presented to me, as somebody who's just meeting the ladies for the first time, as an excuse. And then when I ask Sutton, what is causing this, she, I'm just met with her getting very angry and defensive at me and denying that there's something. So a narrow esophagus is something, it's not a diagnosis in itself. It is a symptom of an underlying condition. So what I'm really trying to do is understand what that underlying condition is. But she is denying one, and, saying that, she's you don't get treatment for it, but then she's talking about, well, let's all go and get it dilated together. And then I'm thinking, well, if you said you don't have an underlying condition, then you can't dilate healthy esophageal tissue. You know, I'm really just trying to understand what the underlying condition for it is, not saying that there isn't one. I'm going off of the information that Sutton is sharing with me. And, you know, she's not very forthcoming with information sometimes. So, you know, that's really what it is. I'm trying to understand what the underlying condition that it is, like what's happening.
Isn't it insane that your entryway into the drama of Real Housewives was about someone's esophagus?
Yes.
Would you have ever thought in a million years that your first point of contention with a cast member
Ooh.
would be over an esophagus?
No, I really would not have. It's I'd like to say that it's comical, but but it's really not, because there are people that, get hurt in that process, and people with, real and serious esophageal diseases that really, were upset and hurt by that, and rightfully so. So, I'd like to say it's a funny situation, but unfortunately it wasn't. And like I said, it really just stemmed from me trying to understand. And, it was also it was hard because, coming into this group of ladies, my first time meeting everybody at the dinner at Kyle's house, and, there's body shaming, there's fit shaming, there's sober shaming. So I'm seeing my friend who's, brought me into this group of ladies be, bombarded and, like attacked about making healthy lifestyle choices. Like, Kyle's going through a lot, she has personal things that are going on in her marriage. She, lost her best friend since childhood, right? Those kinds of things can send somebody into a spiral. And I'm really proud of her for handling them in such a healthy way. And then to see Sutton continually, shame her, the body shaming, the fit shaming, the sober shaming, shame her for those things. It was actually very triggering to me. It was really upsetting. And especially as, I grew up playing sports. I started running track when I was 5. I played basketball all through college. So for me growing up, it was really about having a strong mind, a strong body, being fit. And then to see this, almost obsession with like being thin and being tiny, and everybody kind of like fixating on that. And then for that to be like weaponized against Kyle for really trying to be fit and healthy. It's like that was a lot for me to actually process at the beginning.
Yeah, do you think maybe there's a pattern in Sutton's behavior? Because it seems like, from your assessment, she weaponized Kyle stepping into a healthier lifestyle, and then maybe she possibly took the same route after processing your questions about her esophagus issue. Are there sort of like fundamental differences, would you say, between you and Sutton that maybe prevents you from having a strong friendship?
So I think one thing with Sutton is she really likes to play the detective. She likes to ask the questions of others, but she's not very forthcoming when it comes to answering questions about her life. And so I think that's where, especially, Esopha-gate for us became very, a lot bigger than it needed to be. Had, she had just been really forthcoming when I asked her and said, well, something like, hey, I have eosinophilic esophagitis, or I have acid reflux that causes these, those are both underlying medical conditions that would make a narrow esophagus make sense. Had she just have been forthcoming with that, this would have been, it would have been a blip. But she likes to play detective, but she can't handle it when the shoe is on the other foot. And then it's also a little bit difficult because it's almost like 2 steps forward, 1 step back with Sutton. Like, you think you're kind of getting to a good place, and then she kind of brings out the talons, and she kind of does a 180, and like this whole Jekyll and Hyde situation starts happening. So that makes it a little bit difficult with her as well. So
What I was just gonna say, what did you think of Dr. Nicole stepping in and
Yes.
giving her assessment online? Because it seems like from what you're telling us right now, it didn't seem like she understood your intention.
Yeah, so I was really very hurt by Dr. Nicole doing that. You know, as a colleague in anesthesia practice, she knows my training, she knows my skill set, she knows my knowledge base. Um, and so I would think that, you know, if you see something and you're kind of wondering, like, why are you going along that line of questioning? Why wouldn't you offer that professional courtesy and reach out to me and kind of ask and say, oh, I wasn't really comfortable with that. Like, why were you doing that? And then as another, you know, reality TV personality, she knows that, you know, we you don't always get the full picture. And so I feel like for both of those reasons, it would have made, if she actually was responding because she really cared, she would have reached out to me. And I actually did reach out to her after I was told that she made a video, and, you know, she didn't respond to it, which, you know, shows me that this wasn't so much about clarifying anything for anyone. It was really, unfortunately, about trying to capitalize off of the Beverly Hills show. And, you know, I guess this is what the kids call clout chasing, right? Like, you're just trying to capitalize on the moment for likes and whatever it is. And as I said, as a colleague, that was professionally really inappropriate, I think, and it was very hurtful, you know. And I met her at BravoCon. We did a medical panel together, and I, you know, I thought she was really nice. I thought she was really classy. She didn't come across as the kind of person that would, you know, do that, you know? So yeah, I think it was hurtful, and I think it was really, really sad.
Ugh, and it's especially shocking, especially if you guys had that bond at BravoCon, because you were like,
Yeah.
oh wow, we're in this together. Like we can like there's like I feel that's a very small group of reality stars who are also in the medical profession that can like
Yeah.
kind of have that bond. But
Yeah.
at least while that relationship I feel might just be a squash the beef maybe in 2024 BravoCon, who knows? Were there BravoCon relationships that you were like, oh, we do like each other now, or like, oh, we are good together, that maybe we're on Beverly Hills that got you excited?
Oh my gosh. Number one, let me just say, I loved BravoCon. I had so much fun. And it was so funny because I am actually really shy talking in front of crowds. And for some reason, when I was at BravoCon, as soon as I was on a stage and had a mic in front of me, I was like chatty Cathy. It was hysterical. But you know, I loved the Potomac girls. Like, I just loved them. Like, their energy, they were so fun. NECA and I totally clicked. I mean, we have, you know, tons of things in common. She's the newbie on Potomac. I'm the newbie on Beverly Hills. We're both Nigerian. And you know, I've actually never been to Nigeria. I was adopted. I don't know much about my Nigerian heritage. And so we really like bonded over that. And she's been awesome. So I really liked her. I loved Lisa from Dubai was awesome. Kiki from Miami was so cute. There were tons of people. Like, everybody was awesome.
I love that you and NECA bonded over that shared experience of being the rookie and being the newbie. What has that experience been like for you? Because I will say, like, Danny and I were both at the Beverly Hills panel, and you're right. Like, you were a chatty Cathy on stage. I was so delightfully surprised because at that point we really hadn't seen much of you on the show, but you were like, hello, I'm here. I have thoughts, feelings, and opinions, and you will hear them, and you looked fabulous. So it
Thank
seems like
you.
you're already very comfortable. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm a very confident person. Like, I've had a very like a very complex past. You know what I mean? Like, I was born in a very small farm town in Canada. I was adopted when I was 2 weeks old. I'm Dutch and Nigerian by heritage, but I was adopted by a Dutch Indonesian family, raised in an Indonesian family. You know, like I said, played sports all my life. I moved here 19 years ago, and um, married my husband. And then so I went from, like, you know, a very like humble beginnings to thrust into this lifestyle. Like literally one of our first dates, like we met in December of 2011, and he's like, we need to go to Super Bowl in February. And here I'm still in school, and I'm sitting in the hotel room studying because I've upon test on Monday, and he's out doing his interviews and stuff during the day. At nighttime, we're going to all the Super Bowl parties and going to the game and everything. Like that was literally the life that I was thrust into. So like I said, I've been around it a lot. And so, and I am just naturally, I'm a very confident person. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like I've done the work. I've kind of earned my stripes to be able to say that about myself, because I feel like being confident and comfortable is a constant daily battle, you know, and I feel like I really put in the work to do that. And I've just always been an outgoing person. Like I'm the friend that's like, let's go, everybody together. We're doing this. I'm the connector. I like having a good time. Like I live for fun, you know? So yeah, it was a good time.
And especially at BravoCon too, because I feel that was when everyone was like, hey, there's the new Beverly Hills girl. We're so excited. And what we knew from the trailer was, oh, her and Crystal are not texting that much together. Do you think it was a blessing or a curse for us that she lost her voice during the panel, so you guys couldn't really go at it? Because how are you doing with her then? How are you doing with her now? What's happening?
Ooh, okay. So the Crystal situation, let me just preface it by saying, you know, I've always had a soft spot for Crystal, because coming into this, like we have outside mutual friends. And so like, I mean, when I got cast, like we, you know, had an hour and a half long conversation. When that, you know what, Kyle's dinner, when she's like, that bitch is nosy. We were texting in the car before we got into Kyle's house. You know what I mean? So, and I could tell that Crystal, you know, she was kind of the outsider in the group. And so, like I said, I did have a soft spot for her, and I'm a very trusting person. And I trusted her one too many times, and I would keep giving her the benefit of the doubt. And she just kept stabbing me in the back, which you're going to see. And you know that saying where they're like, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. I learned that lesson the hard way over and over and over again in my life. And this is another example. And you know, people had warned me about her, and you know, said she's not a truthful person. And I kind of, you know, I'd like to see the best in people. And so I kind of turned a blind eye to that. And like I said, you know, she stabbed me in the back. And I see it now because, you know, knowing about the situation with her 14 friends, and then, right. And then what she did to Sutton, you know, where she had that deep, dark thing that she supposed that Sutton said that was, you know, basically calling Sutton racist in so many words. But and then it was nothing. You know what I mean? She said it was just a feeling. And then now with me, you know, she decided to say, oh, she calls herself a doctor, as, you know, that's her newest lie for this season, you know. And you know, she doesn't say a lot. The other ladies are right about that. She doesn't say a lot. And I think that with me coming into this group, you know, we're similar ages. We have mutual friend groups. I was very trusting of her. I think she saw it as, this is my time to get my voice, and I'm going to use it, or I'm going to do it at Annemarie's expense. And she really took the opportunity, and that's what she did.
Well, and it seems like you might have checked her on that, because as we see in the trailer, you say something to the effect of, I made you relevant. So you were
Yeah.
to let her know what you saw and what you assessed?
Yes. So that's really what I meant by that situation is, you know, when someone doesn't have a lot going on for themselves, and they don't have a lot to talk about, and they don't speak up in the group, you know, she really made her lie about me. She made it her storyline, right? Like all the conflict that was happening with me, that was her storyline. And so that's why I said that. I'm like, you can thank me for giving you something to talk about and making you relevant.
And I'm now curious too, because you said you were warned about her. Did that come from castmates or from your guys' mutual friends? Because you brought up the
Why did
14 friends.
why did I know you were going to ask me that? Oh
We're,
my gosh. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to say any names.
you can spell them if
But
you want.
you're so cute. I'm not going to say any names, but it came from people that we both know. So not, and
Did you
it wasn't just one person. It came from multiple people. So
maybe 14 people? What one did one of the 14 have something to say?
I am
Oh,
pleading the fifth for now.
okay, yeah, she took a sip of water, guys. If you're just
No,
listening to this,
for now.
she's not getting into it. Well, I'm excited to see what goes down between you and Crystal later on this season. I
Oh,
feel
let
like
me tell you too. Another time she called me a nurse practitioner. So she
oh,
really has no idea what I do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, when I met you, you called yourself a doctor. But then she has no idea what nurse anesthetists do. And by the way, let me just tell you guys that nurse anesthetists can hold doctorate degrees. So anyway, and then one day she's like, you call yourself a doctor. And then another day when all the ladies were all at dinner and she called me a nurse practitioner. Like she is,
spreading this information about your medical title. Is that how she stabbed you in the back, or are you talking about something totally different?
um, that's number one.
Okay.
Okay.
There's
All
a
right. Well,
list.
I can't
There's
wait
a
to see
list.
how
That's
you
why I
guys,
said it was just repeated stabbing. And, shame on me, like fool me once, but
right. Are
I'm
you
Canadian. We're nice people.
Yeah.
how are you mentally preparing for the reunion? Because I'm sure it's gonna be pretty explosive between you and Crystal.
You know, I'm mentally preparing by planning my vacation for afterwards. Um, no, I think for me, it's really just going to be about staying within myself, right? Like just being myself, being true to who I am as a person, staying calm. I'm sure you guys can tell already, like I'm a very passionate and like animated person, and that often comes across as like very fiery. So I feel like I need to like zen a little bit. But yeah, it's really just going to be sticking to my truth and being me, right? Like can't be anybody but who you are. So I ran into Heather Dubrow at dinner the other night, and she was like, call me, I'll give you pointers for the reunion or whatever, and I feel like people can tell me all they want to tell me and give me, all the tips and the pointers in the world, which of course, I'll appreciate, but it's really just going to come down to being honest and being my true self.
The Champagne Queen is a good one to have on the back burner in case you do just need some tips. Or I feel like I would get vacation tips from her because she knows how to live her best life.
I live for a vacation. I live for a vacation.
But I am curious, what do you think after reunion is more likely to happen? You and Crystal becoming friends or Dorit and Garcelle becoming friends? Because those two I do feel like are, I don't cook. Is it water and oil? Whatever the things that don't get together, I think it is them. So I don't know, which one do you think would be more likely?
I think it's more likely that Dorit and Garcelle do. Honestly, like I can be friends with anybody. I can honestly, I really can. But I gave her so many chances, and just the lies and the lies and the lies. It's a lot. So I feel like there is hope for Dorit and Garcelle. And I can kind of see both sides of where they're coming from. Like Garcelle's not wrong in saying, like, as Black women, like we carry a lot of extra weight, and things like the angry Black woman, and like we're more aggressive. Like, I mean, I just told you guys, like, I'm very passionate and fiery, and people can just be like, oh, she's so aggressive because I'm Black. Like, is everyone going to get that label? Like, probably not. So I definitely see where Garcelle is coming from with that. And I see where Dorit is coming from when she's saying, I didn't mean to use the word attack in that way towards you. I feel like she was really open to understanding where Garcelle was coming from, and what this, how Garcelle was triggered by the word. And the word is used a lot. I mean, I probably used the word 3 times today, right? So I can see where both of them are coming from. I feel like they're both open and honest and hopefully willing to get to that place. So I see hope for them.
Do you
Yeah,
feel?
no, go ahead, Danny. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, do you feel because Dorit didn't help herself from some fans when she did the bubble Instagram caption for her
Oh,
post? I don't know if you
yeah.
saw that, where she was like, "I'm happy in my bubble," and everyone was like, "Bubbles, bubbles," and then when they saw how it was used actually in the episode,
Oh,
fans
yeah.
were kind of like, "Oh, Dorit, no." Did you kind of
Yeah.
feel like, Dorit, why'd you do that, or do you think
You
it just?
know, I didn't even notice it either. I'm not gonna, it was Christmas time. It was the holidays. Like I was just be home being mommy with my kids. My social media use had gone so much down. So I wasn't even really aware of that. Um, yeah, that's a tough one. I can see where that would have looked a little bit off. And I hope that wasn't her intention with doing that. Um, that's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, well, speaking of things that are off, another thing that is off currently in the group is Sutton and Kyle. Like they
Oh.
have been at it all season. Kyle said that she's currently on a break from Sutton as someone who is Kyle's friend and who has clashed with Sutton. What is your take on the situation? Do you think they're donezo? Because from that conversation in the room at dinner, it felt a little irreparable.
Yeah, I have hope for them. I don't think it's irreparable. I I really feel like Kyle, she's a really forgiving person. And I feel like Sutton, when she wants to be reasonable, can be reasonable, right? It kind of goes back to that thing I was talking about with Sutton, where it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. What mood is she going to be in today? What side does she want to show you? I feel like if she's going to show some consistency to Kyle and really show that she can be a good friend and really be there for her, then I feel like they're going to be able to move forward just fine. Um, I think it was really off-putting for Kyle, I'm sure, right? Like this is supposed to be your friend and she's coming after your marriage and she's coming after you for being healthy and being sober and things like that. And so I can see why Kyle's like, I can see why she needs a break from her right now, right? That's not friend behavior. That's not how friends are supposed to be there for one another and support each other.
And I mean, she had a nice holiday break with Rihanna. So I think Kyle is recharging just fine right now.
Right, seriously, right? Like what more can you ask for?
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
does seem like Kyle's in a really good spot. She's hanging out with Rihanna in Aspen while Mo is skiing with Anita in a bikini. Like everyone's just like living their best lives. But I'm still not over Mo skiing partially nude with Anita and Lele Pons. Like was your reaction to that situation? I, I, I love it. I love
Um,
how they both each found their like pop superstar to hang out with in Aspen.
yeah, I mean, I think that look, they've been married for a long time, right? 27 years. They have a beautiful family. They had a beautiful relationship and they're going through hard times right now, right? I think they're both in a place where they're still prioritizing their family. They want to do what's best for their children. But I think they're clearly taking some space from each other right now and they're in that phase where they're doing things that are bringing them joy and things that are making them happy and I am happy for them for doing that. It's the nature of the beast that they're public people. This is what happens, right? Every single move you make is scrutinized. Everybody's watching it. Everybody knows about it, right? You know how many people are going through things like this right now, doing far worse? We just don't know about it, right? So
and I do feel it was at least because I know all the viewers and everybody when they were seeing Mo on his ski escapades was like, how? What? No. Oh, Kyle must be right. And I'm like, Kyle just seemed fine. And because I was like, oh, then Kyle went to Aspen and was having a lovely time. So I kind of also think it is to your point too, where they are a few steps ahead of everybody in terms of their conversations with them and their family. So I feel the person who's the most unbothered by this is Kyle, where she's like, if he wants to go ski, go do it.
right. She's like, I'm with Rihanna, I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, and I am curious too when you were talking about people having to do things in the public eye, because when we were talking and I was like, what was the first times I was seeing photos of you popping up? And one that did just come back to me is that I remember you and Rachel Lindsay had like an hour-long lunch. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure how close you guys are, but I don't know. Are you shocked about the news that she just had with Brian filing for divorce as well?
So Rachel and I are good friends. We met through, other friends, and we instantly clicked. We developed a really strong relationship. She's brilliant, and she's real, and she's down to earth, and those are qualities I love about people. Um, this is going to be a challenge for her, and it's she's going to need support, and she's going to need love. And I feel like the best thing that I can do for her is be a friend and be there for her. I feel like the best thing the public can do is, offer words of support and just kind of give them their space and give them their privacy, right? Like, it's very interesting for them because of the nature of the show that she was on, right? Like, this is what it's all about. It's finding your soulmate, getting married. Everyone wants to see that perfect love story and see that happily ever after. And you know what, guys? Like, the reality is 50% of marriages end in divorce, right? So it's very unfortunate. And, my heart, it goes out to them, but it doesn't always work every time, So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's so tough because, to your point, like she was on The Bachelorette, everyone was like so invested in who she was going to give her final rose to. And then she and Brian had this gorgeous marriage for several years, like
Yeah.
in Bachelor Nation world, like it was a really long time. And
Yeah.
then kind of similar to Kyle and Mo, like people have been watching their relationship and rooting for their relationship for like nearly 2 decades now. So I guess that's what happens when you put your relationship in the public eye, which you are doing now. We see all the gorgeous family photos behind you. Obviously, you and Marcellus have a very happy marriage. It's very encouraging of you pursuing Housewives. Did you guys have any conversations prior to filming about like, hey, like how are we going to safeguard our relationship? Because there is that dreaded reality TV curse that everyone talks about.
Yeah. And no, yes and no. No, we didn't. So it's funny because Mike Hill was married to Cynthia,
Yeah.
and Marcellus and Mike used to work together. So, Mike had some words for Marcellus, but Marcellus and I, we didn't need that because, like I said, like he's been in the public eye for so many years now. And so he's used to it. He's used to the attention. He's used to the noise. He's used to all of it. And so, and we know who we are. Excuse me. Sorry, one sec.
All good, all good.
So yeah, he's used to all that, right? Like none of this is new for him. And so we know who we are. We're very strong in our foundations. Like that's why, like literally we met the night we met, Marcellus was like, you're going to be my wife. And I was like, you don't even know me. He's like, nope, you're going to be my wife. And everything was so fast for us. Like moved in within 2 months, we were engaged within 9 months, bought our first house within a year, got married right after I graduated from grad school. Like everything in our relationship has been so fast and so solid because that's who we are as people. And I think the one thing about our relationship that really sets us apart is we do the difficult stuff, right? Like people don't like having difficult and uncomfortable conversations. And let me raise my hand to say I'm the first one that doesn't like them, because I'm from Canada. We like everything to be bubbles and roses and happy and blah, blah, blah. And he is the opposite. He's like, let's have the real conversations because you don't get to know people and who they really are without really asking the tough questions. And so we really go there in our relationship, Here, example for you, that whole 8.5 thing?
Yes.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on that? I'm like, flip it for a second. What were your thoughts on that?
Evan knows I am like a Earth sign Taurus, and I take a lot of things personally, and I hold grudges till the end of time. So I would be like, write me down what is keeping me the 2.5 away. I would be like, and let me know because then I'll write 55.
1.5 away.
1.5 away. You're right.
1.5 away.
So let me know that 1.5, and then I'll give you 155 of how you can improve. So that is me.
Yeah. So let me say this though. He said I botched it. He was like, you totally got that wrong. He's like, you're not 8.5 across the board. He said you're an 8.5 average. So he's like, yes, you're a 10 in looks and brains and mommy and all that stuff. But he's like, but you have OCD. and you nag me. And that's your
Okay.
two. So that's what he's like, that's what it really was. You watched it. So, okay, fine. But let's go with what I initially said that I said wrong, right? Am I a 10?
To me, you are, and I feel like we should all call ourselves tens. But it's so funny because, like, as you were explaining it on the show, I was like, "Oh well, no, that must have like really hurt her." But then I was like thinking about it, and I think my mind was going more towards what he meant was like you're an 8.5 average, which like is really good because you can't excel in all things at all times. So if I'm an 8.5 in everything at all times, I'm really proud of myself.
Bullseye. I was an athlete, guys. Like, you don't have to tell me I'm a 10. Like that doesn't feed my ego. You know why? Because I never had a coach that said, Annemarie, you're perfect. Because you're never going to be perfect, right? Scale of 1 to 10, 5 is actually average and 10 is perfect. Nobody's perfect. So if it was that he's saying you're an 8.5 in everything, that's why I was like, that's a badge of honor. I'm like, that's an A in everything I do. I'll take it.
I
But
also feel like
anyway, that goes to show you. And even like when, we have, that's like a dinner party conversation with some of our friends and stuff. And, we'll say, I'll be like, what would you say if so-and-so called you an 8.5? They're like, oh, he better call me a 10 and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, but why? Like, I don't need that from my husband. Like that doesn't fill me up because I know who I am as a person. And that's, I think, why people say you need two whole people to make a relationship work. I'm whole without my husband. He's whole without me. We're together because we want to be, not because we need to be, right? So
Did
yeah.
you, when you like came out of your mouth, did you realize you're like, oh, I said it wrong? Or you're like, no, you explained it.
No, because I thought I said it right.
Oh,
Like, I thought I said it right. And he's like, no, you totally botched that. And I was like, I did. And he's like, yes, average, not across the board, average. And I was like, oh well, I'll clarify it one day.
that is so funny. I'm
But
like,
here we are. Yeah, here we are.
I want to ask my husband to rate me now, and I'm like a little scared, but also curious because I know I'm not getting 8.5s in every category.
you're not
But
gonna
let
get
me
it.
ask you this though. If your husband says you're a 10, do you believe him? And then do you believe him with everything else you ask him? Because so my husband calls me an 8.5. Okay, like I'm an 8.5. If I'm getting ready, we're in the closet, we're getting ready to go out. You know what conversation you're never gonna hear at the Wiley house? You're never gonna hear, babe, do I look fat in this? Do I look bad? You know why? Because if I look fat or bad, he's just gonna tell me anyway. And that's not offensive to me. It's trust, guys. It's trust.
I would respect that because like I would be like, because then I would be mad at outside, like, why'd you let me leave the house looking bad? So
Thank you.
I'm also impossible to please. So I feel like I'm just lost a cause, and that's nothing you can fix. But yes, but I am with you on that.
Yeah, I'm like, no, like because I know that everything he tells me is the truth.
Okay, that explains it a lot. See, this does explain it a lot better to me.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, hello, I don't, you know.
So when you were picking out your housewives wardrobe, for instance, did
Ooh.
you ask Marcellus for his opinion or advice, or was that sort of like a solo mission? Because that's a big deal, like figuring out like what you're gonna wear not only to film, but for your confessionals, because confessionals,
BravoCon.
like yeah, BravoCon, like everything is a fashion show.
You guys, no, I don't ask my husband.
Okay.
You know why? Because when I ask him, he says, go call your girlfriend. No,
Oh,
no, I didn't ask him. I mean, maybe there were like little times where like I just needed someone to be hypercritical and then I'll ask him. But for the most part, no, I didn't really ask him. But can I tell you this about me? I live in athleisure. Like, I went from being an athlete to a mommy, and I'm like running around with little kids all the time and like at practices and at games and stuff. So like I literally live in like Lulu and Aloe. And there'd be like the red carpet event, celebrity friend events, things like that, where I'd have to get all glammed up and stuff. But going from that to like the everyday 3 hours in glam, all the wardrobe, all the things, it was honestly hysterical to me. Like I enlisted, like, I have friends that are stylists and stuff, and I have friends that are just, really good with that stuff. So I enlisted like an entire team of people to like help me, and, and they were fabulous. And I feel like I've just picked it up over time and stuff. And now I'm like, I've fully lent into it and I'm like embracing it and I'm having so much fun with it. But I would, no joke, I would actually say at the beginning of filming, that was the biggest learning curve for me.
And like,
And
how would you describe your approach to it? So obviously you enlisted a team to help you out. Did you sort of like tell them, hey, this is my vision, pick everything out for me? Or were you like sort of involved in the process? Like, what was that relationship like?
So my really good friend who is a fantastic stylist, she, did a whole situation for me. And I told her, I was like, free reign, just do whatever. Because when I do it for myself, I'm going to buy the same things over and over again. And like, I hate shopping. I'm not a shopper. I like, bring it to me. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm busy. I got a lot of stuff going on. I don't have time to like 3 hours in the mall. I'm not doing it. So I just always have people bring things to me. So that's what she did. And I was like, bring me things that like, I wouldn't normally wear. The only thing I told her was comfort. Like I will always put comfort first. And let me tell you the story why. Shortly after Marcellus and I started dating, I got these beautiful like blue suede heels. I don't even remember who made them now, but and I wore them to a Laker game. And we're walking through the tunnels, we're walking down, we go sit courtside, and let me tell you, my feet, like I've never been in so much pain, but we're sitting courtside, so I can't just like pop off my heels. So the next day, my feet are like blistered. It's a mess. And my husband's like why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like it's not that serious. And so my number one rule ever since that is comfort first.
wait,
Comfort.
is there a comfortable for any person listening who's like, okay, no, but help me heal those blisters? Have you found a comfortable shoe that you're like, I can wear this next to Erica Jane and also not have
Oh,
55 blisters?
you know what? Renee Kaovia, I love their shoes. I just recently went to an event for them as well, but like their shoes are fantastic. They're super duper comfortable. I feel like it sometimes it depends on the actual shoe itself too, right? Like a heel versus a boot versus a whatever. But like I'll tell you, even like my Prada boots over there, like I had to go take those to get stretched. Like, they have to be comfortable if I'm gonna wear them. I will put in the effort, but it has to be comfortable.
And even though you're not the biggest shopper,
Yeah.
I feel like because even you see, I feel like the housewives, like especially in Beverly Hills, they'll go to a lunch and they're like, oh my God, I just bought a $2,500 bag. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. What has been have you given yourself like a treat splurge after holding your diamond? Or have you bought yourself something lately? You're like, that was extravagant, but I earned it or because I wanted it?
So I was asked this another time too, and for it wasn't so much of like a treat thing for me because like this has been my lifestyle, right? Like it's not like if I want something, I just like I go buy it. And I'm not really thinking about like, oh, it doesn't need to come from my husband. It doesn't need to be for like a special event. Like we don't actually even buy each other Christmas presents. Cause I'm like, why? If I want something, I just go buy it. If he wants something, he just goes and buys it. Like it doesn't give it any more meaning if it comes from my husband. So when I say I don't like shopping, I just mean I don't like going to the mall and like wasting my time because I have things to
Okay.
do. Like I got 4 kids, I work, like we're busy. Wiley World is busy. So that's what I mean when I say I don't like shopping. I love getting things.
Yeah,
Don't get me
right.
wrong. Like
We
I
like
love,
accumulating.
yes, exactly. I like accumulating and acquiring. I'm very good
Yeah.
at that. I don't like seek it out myself. Or, like if we're out or something and I see like, oh, I love those shoes. I love that bag. I'm like, hey, like personal shopper, I need that, like, so that's what I mean when I say I don't like shopping. Like, make it happen. I'm just not doing it myself.
Do you have go-to designers? Like, are you a Gucci girl, a Burberry girl? Do you like finding unique designers? Like, what's your vibe?
You know what? I'm very into Chanel bags. I feel like they're just so classy and classic. So I'd say for handbags, Chanel is definitely my go-to. Um, for like I've actually really gotten into like Hermes shoes lately. Yeah, like sandals and sneakers because their sneakers are just so classic and cute. And like I said, I'm an athleisure girl. Um, for clothing, I love Dior. I like Gucci. I like an arrayment of things. Like is arrayment even a word? Arrayment.
No, it is right now.
It is not. It is when you're with Dior, Gucci, and Hermes.
Yeah.
Hermes.
Arraignment.
My
That's
favorite
I
brand,
I
arraignment.
say the word, arraignment. No, and again, for me, it's not about like, it's not just the designer. It's like, what is the piece and what does the piece look like on my body? How comfortable is the piece? How does the piece make me feel? You know, because I feel like fashion needs to be, it needs to be two things: comfortable, like I already said, and fun. Comfortable and fun. If you feel good in what you're wearing, great. And I also don't think that it always has to be the most expensive thing in order for it to be good. Do you know what I mean?
We
Mhm.
Because
had
I've
Garcia
seen,
Lazar necklace. She
I
said
mean,
the potential.
there you go. Perfect example. It looked gorgeous. And if we didn't know, we didn't know. Like, there's nothing wrong with Zara. I wore Zara to Sutton's store party.
Oh, really? Wait,
That was Zara.
I never thought that was Zara. That
Oh.
It
looks
was Zara. I was like, it is pink. I clearly love pink. It was super
Yes.
comfortable. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to whip this out of the closet and
Fun.
just wear it. Like, it doesn't matter. Sure, I'll wear Dior one day and I'll wear Zara the next day. It
Now
is
that
what
we're
it
on the
Balance.
topic of things that are pink and super comfortable, we
Yeah.
must talk about Denise Richards' furry pink jacket that was apparently reversible.
Yeah.
Thoughts
She
on the
said it was
jacket?
reversible.
But I don't know. She made it
Oh,
reversible. Thoughts on not only Denise's jacket, but just her performance in general this season, and her the line of attack she seems to have for Erica about something that's 4 years old.
yeah. It was very clear that when Denise came in, like, she had an agenda. You know, she was there for one reason and one reason only, and that was to get something out of Erica. What she wanted out of Erica, I feel like is still not actually even clear. But it was a it was a little bit awkward to be around, honestly, and it was a little bit uncomfortable to see it after the fact. I missed Taco Tuesday though, because I was in Hawaii.
And lucky you.
And lucky me. Yeah. It's so funny because people are like, okay, she came in for like 2 episodes and then she's not at Taco Tuesday. I'm not in tonight. And they're like, what is she what happened? Is she gone? And that goes back to, they'd already been filming for 6 weeks when they asked me to do it. I already had vacation planned with my family. So I was gone that week. So, you know, I didn't see half of all of the fighting with Denise and Erica. But and I think too, like, you know, Denise had, I think she had a few other things kind of going on at the dinner, perhaps. I don't know.
As a viewer of Taco Tuesday, someone who wasn't there but watched it later, what were your thoughts on the way Erica gathered Denise up? I mean, for the most part, it seems like the fans believe that she gagged her and gooped her and got her right where she belongs.
Yeah. I mean, Erica, she ended that discussion. You know what I mean? She said what she needed to say. She's like, Denise, I have nothing left for you. And she said that
Yeah.
several times. So Denise, I don't know why she kept trying. She kept trying to go there. And then, you know, Eric, she asked for it. Erica gave it to her because she asked for it, you know? And although I don't love that, you know, we're talking about Denise's daughter, but that was what the original story was about. And, you know, that was long before me. And, you know, it wasn't like Erica was bringing it back up to attack her. Well, I guess maybe the OnlyFans was, yeah, I don't know. Denise just kept pushing, you know, she just kept pushing, and Erica didn't even want to talk about it. So,
You don't want to awaken an Erica Jane if she's letting
right.
just let you go. That's what
And it was interesting for me watching it because I wasn't there and because I've actually never seen that side of Erica, right?
You were
I
surprised.
I was surprised. I was surprised. But I mean, that's not someone you want to mess with. You don't want to mess with an activated Erica Jane, and Denise should know that. Like, Erica's very smart, you guys. Like, next level smart. That woman is very intelligent. She has a memory like no one I've ever seen before. Really.
Yes, and her memory served her correctly when we went back
Yes.
to the flashback of Denise Richards.
Yes, exactly. So, you know, seeing like the very calm, cool, collected Erica that I've only seen in person, and then to seeing that Erica, I feel like she was really activated, but Denise asked for it.
Do you think that Denise was asking for it because she was also maybe asking for her diamond back? Like, do you think that was her
Oh, wow.
intention?
Ooh.
I never thought of that. I mean, if that's what she's after, then I feel like that's a very sloppy way of doing it. You know, it's because she made a really big impact, but it just wasn't the classiest of ways to do it. So I feel like if that's what she was after, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Wait, I do want to get your thoughts if you've watched, because it is just shaking up the Bravo world right now. The finale of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Because you said she's making a big impact, but maybe it's a little sloppy. And then I immediately thought of Monica Garcia.
Monica.
And come to find out, she has been running a troll account this whole entire time. And I'm so shocked. I don't know how to process it. I don't know what this means for the future of Salt Lake City, but do you have any thoughts? Did you meet Monica at BravoCon? Like, what can you tell us?
So I met Monica at BravoCon. We met for like 2 seconds in like an elevator or something. Um, I don't watch Salt Lake City, so like I don't know. All I know is that like people love her, right? Like the fans love her. But I don't know much about what's happening with her. And but I mean I do follow Heather. So I did see all that stuff about like the trolling account and whatnot. So like was it true? Like she was the
Yeah,
troll account?
She
she
just did
owned,
a photo shoot confirming it.
Oh
yeah,
wow. Okay.
so
So
she's owning it, which is
that's
so
gonna be a
coincidental.
reunion.
Yeah. I think another thing too, and this kind of goes back a little bit to Dr. Nicole. I feel like for some people, when they're not used to fame and when this is all new to them, they don't really know what to do with it. They don't know how to handle it. They don't know the tact and decorum that kind of goes along with it in certain regards. And I think sometimes they'll just go like balls to the wall and just do whatever they need to do for attention. And maybe that was that with her troll account or something. And maybe that was Nicole with like, I'm not going to talk to you about it, but I'm going to talk to everybody on Instagram about it instead. It's just
Yeah.
it's new for some people.
No, that I feel like that kind of is making sense.
That's a
And
mic drop.
yeah, that
I
is a
mean,
mic drop.
I'm not saying I was famous. I'm not, but I've just got a lot of famous people around me.
Yeah, so you knew how to act, and I think you are doing a stellar job as a Real Housewife. We are so grateful to have had this
Yes.
hour conversation
Thank
with
you so
you.
much.
Welcome to the Bravo world. I hope you're here for a really long time.
Thank you guys so much. And again, thank you for having me. It was so much fun. And yeah, me too. It's a ride, it's a roller coaster, but we're gonna ride it till the wheels fall off.
Yes, in comfortable shoes.
Yes.
And Chanel bag.